We are live.
Yay, we are live. We are live. So, hello, everybody. My name is Mickey, and I am a co founder of Conscious Life Collective.
And my name is Julia Vernadsky. I'm co-founder of Conscious Life Collective as well, and the founder of Untamed Hearts.
We have something so special for you all tonight. We have the inspiration for our panel this evening, and all of our other panels that we've done is really the social wellness. And we're able to bring you three incredibly inspiring community leaders who come from very different backgrounds, but are aligned so much in their consciousness and of unity and oneness. And today we're going to go deeper into the conversation of being focused, balanced, and creative and prosperous, whatever that means for you, because it does have so many different meanings for so many different people. Our roles and responsibilities to ourselves and to others are so varied. And so we're trying to help and work, and help to teach you things that you can do to be able to increase, improve, or maintain even some of your social wellness as it pertains to being that, again, focused, balanced, creative, making good decisions in all areas of your life during this very unprecedented time, and keeping yourself in that peak state of daily being.
Amazing. So I would like to introduce our panelists, our guests today, and I'm going to start with Lisa. Lisa is I know I always do it more personal than everybody gives us their little bio and introduction, but I like to do it personal because I know Lisa for a few years right now, and she is a true champion. She's a true leader in her community. She has community of her own, and hundreds people are affected by what Lisa is creating in this world. So I just love you. I have to say that before I say anything else. And Lisa is known as the inventress. And she's a true mentor, and she's an entrepreneur, and she's a key speaker, an inventor, an independent product agent. For more than 25 years, the inventress has successfully invented, marketed, and launched product for many famous brands, some of them like QVC and Shop NBC and many others. And she's continuing to bring products to national department stores and every day. She is a CEO and the founder of Inventing A to Z, a product development company used to assist others who have the desire to create and develop their own product from concept to fruition. You might have seen Lisa on Bravo TV, ABC, in the magazines like New York Times, Essence magazines, and etc. So Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. And it's such a pleasure having you here today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
So I, this evening, have the pleasure and the honor to introduce you to Jackie Baldwin. And Jackie has more letters after her name than the alphabet. But truly, right? But truly, this woman comes from such a place of just be able to provide comprehensive strategies for people, and really for aging plans or long-term care, financial planning, and helping women to reach their full life goals. But really, it's so much bigger than that. And I won't steal her thunder, but she really has a heart of gold that looks at more than just the avenues of your financial picture. Your well-being and all of those other things are just so important to her, and how she conducts her business and her personal affairs, for me, is just something that drew me to her to be able to share with our community this evening.
Thank you, Mickey. Oh my goodness. And thank you, Julia, for having me. I'm very excited to be here with with both Jackie and Lisa and both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a privilege, and I'm so excited to introduce Jackie Sad Robinson, who you should know is my very good friend. I haven't seen him for a number of years. So this is the first time I actually am seeing him like this. This is as close as it gets right now, and it's been a number of years. So I have to tell you that Jackie is a true artist. Like, if you think about artist, you can put Jackie's face in front of you. This is an artist from A to Z, from back to front, in every way. Anything he touches with touch of art, with touch of his heart. I love him very much. And I'm going to read you some of the formal introduction, but you should know that you are looking and you're in the presence of greatness. He's a beautiful person, very talented person, and a huge heart that affects hundreds of people that come in touch with in his life. So Jackie said something very interesting. There is a pre-COVID era where he is a production designer, creative director with over like 28 years of experience in business and all kinds of ways of creations. And he has extensive experience in brand and direction and fashion, event production, fashion shows production, film, TV. You get an idea, right? And his strength is really in working with cross-functional teams, communicating on all levels. And I've seen the production Jackie created with the fashion shows. It's an experience. He creates experience. He's been recognized on many different levels, and excellent use of innovative and professional presentation tools and skills is just something, it's just in his, toolbox. It's nothing even to talk about, even though he does. But extensive international travel, creating fashion shows and trade shows and production and presentation. And post-COVID time, I am slowly becoming an artist, is what Jackie said. He is being very modest, my friends. He is an artist to every cell of his body. So welcome, Jackie. It's a pleasure having you. Now, what you don't know is that Jackie right now is in Colombia, in Barranquilla. Where are you?
Yes, in Barranquilla.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Nice meeting the other panelists. It's truly an honor.
Beautiful. Passing it to you. So we all know that we live in unprecedented times of challenge, great test to humanity and to us individually on every level. We are witnessing history to unfold, and we all know that we are part of this process and that we are part of creating a new world. And it is up to us what kind of world our children and grandchildren are going to grow up in.
Mm-hmm. We are creating, and so that brings us to really our first question. This concept of social wellness, I said before, looks so different for so many people, and it looks different than, like Jackie said, just even a handful of months ago. It looks so different. Our lives look so different, and how we conduct ourselves looks so different. So my first question is really, how do you stay focused, or how do you recommend people stay focused that you are in contact with during the day? And we'll start with Lisa.
Sure. So the way I stay focused is by honestly making a list, making production lists for myself on paper and typing them out, because there's so much going on. There's so much going on in my day-to-day, as you mentioned. And thank you so much for that warm introduction, Julie. I really appreciate that. I'm an innovator. I invent products every single day. And with creativity comes, and that's your next question, but with creativity comes a little chaos, right? And so I have to write things down specifically, time things out, and really chart my waters and be as organized as I possibly can. And I pray to do that. So Jackie, I'm with you. I pray before I get my day started, because otherwise I'm lost. I'm a mess. So that's how I stay in my space, stay creative, and have pretty much my productive day.
Beautiful. Organization is a wonderful thing, and it really does help the mind to come down to what it is that you need to focus on. Beautiful. How about you, Jackie said?
Well, I think Lisa said it. I mean, I start every night, I preset my morning by going over my list, and I have many lists. I have one on my phone. I have notes that I share on my phone and on the computer. I have a notepad, but the process of just acknowledging that you have to do something keeps your mind creating. It's like, it's incredible. Sometimes you just write things down and suddenly they appear. And that link with, this is going to sound religious, with morning prayers. I mean, it's like, and sometimes like today, I was like, they're waiting for me, but no, even though I'm like busy, everybody's waiting for me, I do not leave my room until I do my prayers. And sometimes I know God must be saying, what are you talking about? Was that a prayer or were you just reading? But I'm sorry. And I said, look, I'm sorry. I have to do it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But it's definitely planning an organization and having a higher being with you. For me, that's amazing. And that's what really keeps me sane.
I'm actually giggling because as you're talking, I don't know which way I'm pointing, you have your clipboards on the wall. And we're talking about organization, right? And so,
yeah.
Right? I mean,
I have 6.
That's amazing. And Jackie, prayer doesn't have a prescription or any specific form that it needs to be in. It can be anytime, any day, in any form. There's always ears listening. And I love that you brought that into the mental clarity and being, true to yourself and being able to honor that commitment you made to yourself to be able to, speak to the higher forces as well. How about you, Jackie? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Julie.
I sign under all those things that Lisa and Jackie said. This is brilliant, and this is the way. And having a higher energy to support us. Amen to that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Jackie Baldwin. I'm gonna call you Jackie B.
That's fine. So, with Lisa and Jackie, same thing. I mean, I guess we all start our day the same way. First of all, though, I must say I start with a cup of coffee. But there you go. But so I start with my coffee, and then I actually take it back to my bedroom, in my bed where I'm the most comfortable. And I do read scripture. I pray. I journal. And that is set my day. If I don't do that, my day ends up being chaotic. And I'll sit there at the end of the day going, gosh, what happened? And then I'm like, oh, I forgot my morning prayer. And it does ground you. And especially in this time where we feel as though we've lost kind of control over some things, it's nice to know that we can hand some things over to a higher being. However, whoever that is for you. And I have an actual conversation and say, what gives here? It's not formal at all. It's a very friendly conversation, and saying, could you just give me some guidance here? Because like today I'm not feeling it. And the other thing that I do before I get off into my busy day is I make sure that I reach out via message. So, you know, Mickey is one of the people that I tend to message early in the morning. I'll reach out to certain people that are that have been laid upon my heart during that meditation time, and just let them know that they're being thought of, that I love them, if I'm here for them. Because in this day and age where we're really not physically getting together with people and passing people all the time, I think keeping that connection going is good for me, and it's good for others as well.
I love that. Wow. I feel like I should be taking notes, except they'd be only seeing the top of my head. That was amazing. Yes. Organization, speaking to the higher beings, taking that meditation time, and reaching out, making those connections. It is all part of the social wellness process.
I think what you guys saying, what I hear in addition to everything you said, is that it's all about being who you are being as you are creating what you're creating. I love it. And with that, and Lynn is saying, so great, Jackie. I'm actually going to surface some of the comments. Lynn Kaminsky is here. There are a few people who are saying hi. Hello, everybody who's joining us or who is watching us replay. Thank you for being with us and being part of this important conversation. So, and I want to take us to a different side of the same question. How do you stay balanced? How do you make the choices that are the choices that, you know, like there's no wrong choices, but how do you make the choices that are most productive, that will help you manifest, that will help you and allow you to stay grounded and balanced within the process that you are going through, but also within what's going on in the world, because we are all affected by it. So who would like, any volunteers? Lisa, I can see, yes.
Sure, I'll start.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the opposite. How do I keep from being unbalanced? And the way I keep from being unbalanced is not inviting adversity into my life, keeping adversity out of my life, controlled adversity. We are all in a place where there's so much chaos and everything going on. I like to limit drama and unnecessary drama in my life. I mean, certain things we cannot control, as I said. Also, it goes back to prayer and just really asking God to keep me on my path, keep me on the straight and narrow. And the choices are, again, through prayer and asking for guidance every single day. And just making good choices and being my authentic self. When you're your authentic self, you win every single time. You got to go back to who you are. You know what I mean? Look inside yourself, because we get lost in the minutia of work and people and phone calls and the craziness that's happening on the news and the pandemic and all of the different things. I try to shut that out and center myself. Again, it goes back to prayer, Jackie and Jackie. It goes back to that. And yeah, really just making choices that are good for me. You know, if saying no to things that are not healthy for you, or places, you know, you're offered a lot of different speaking engagements, obviously, and just making good choices. I wanted to be here tonight, obviously. This is wonderful. And I really appreciate being a part of this very spiritual and lovely platform. So that's kind of how I try not to be unbalanced.
I love that. I love what you're saying, to stay true to yourself and align yourself with your truth. And there's no wrong can come from it. Thank you, Lisa. Jackie Saad, would you like to take next?
Yeah. I understand absolutely everything Lisa says. I agree with her. But being more practical, I'll tell you one thing. Beginning of the pandemic, I found myself watching CNN, ABC, national and local channels and the BBC. And by the end of the evening, I was completely chaos. I was going nuts. So it's like, sorry, no more news. What do I create my own space, and which I think I don't disagree with what Lisa is saying. It's like chaos, goodbye. One good thing the pandemic brought to my life, it became a sieve. It was like sifting out people, sifting out chaos, sifting out extra things. We were so busy doing 10 million things, and suddenly in the pandemic, I was even busier, but I was more focused. I was using my mind better. I was using my time better. You know, the beginning of the pandemic, there were like 10 meetings a day, all at the same time. Now, slowly, it sifts out the ones that are no good and leaving you with the essential. That, for me, is being true to myself. What's your essence?
What's your essence?
That's really, really what it comes down to. What's your essence? What makes you happy? That's all that matters. I mean, I've had financial problems, love life, a chaos, but what really is there? The only thing that's there is me and my essence. And that's the only thing that can make me happy and make me override all the other things. And suddenly, I don't need a partner. I don't need money. Suddenly, things start falling into place once I get in touch with my true self.
Yes.
I love so
Being deliberate.
So what I hear is so powerful. Again, Jackie's talking about aligning with your truth and with your essence, right? And but this is exactly the moment when you start to change the world around you. This is exactly the moment when the world around you is becoming more balanced, more aligned. And it starts with each one of us internally. And it's not like we don't need the money, but we don't need. We become a magnet of it. It's not like we don't need the right people. We become a magnet for them to come into our life. Thank you, Jackie. Beautiful.
I keep hearing the word deliberate. The choices are very deliberate in our alignment. And, you know, financial, I think, is the biggest one that a lot of us felt the big kick in the tummy with all of this.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And Jackie, what is your take on it?
So, you know, I hate to be the person that just says, yeah, what Lisa and Jackie said, but it is that. And then I think I'd like to add to it. We can't give into fear. You know, and really, you know, Jackie, you're right. When we're watching the news, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but they have to fill 24/7 news, right? And so they're focusing on all the negative things that are around us. And something that's on my Facebook page is, you know, I've said I'm a love warrior, and I seek to be the reflection of what I want to see in the world. And so if I'm really going to be true to that, then I need to live that. And you can't live that from a place of fear. You have to relinquish the fear. That's where the prayer in the morning comes in. I think, as you said earlier, Jackie, to get through this, I think we need to have that higher power. We've got to give that piece up. And then all we can do is move forward and keep moving forward, and keep our eyes looking ahead. It's okay to look back in the rear view to see how far we've come from, but not to get bogged down in what happened in the rear view, and to bring forward blessings from what happened with us in the past. I had the blessing to be a co-author on a collaborative book early on in this pandemic called The Blessings and Wisdom of COVID-19. And it really helped me to focus in on what were those blessings. Once I did that, it was a whole shift. And yes, financially, when you're a financial advisor and I had these worries originally for all of my clients, of course. I know I've positioned them well, but it's not only my own finances, I'm worried about all my clients' finances and making sure that they're okay. And then once I kind of got that into play and under control, I was able to really just say, I've got to get rid of this fear because I'm becoming paralyzed. And when I'm paralyzed, I can't help others. I can't help myself. And I ended up, if you're going to live in fear, I'm going to be in my bed in the fetal position all day. And that's not going to do anybody any good. So I finally just woke up one day. It was actually Easter. I had a terrible day on Easter. I spent the day sobbing. I had a total meltdown. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done living in fear. I'm done living this way. I've got to get out of this. And once I did that, I was able to find balance. I was able to find joy, actual joy, not just like getting by. And that felt really great. And then to see how others react to that joy that you're exuding and putting out there just helps you want to bring it more. So, kind of it.
Very much so, like sharing it with others, right?
Jackie, so beautiful. Thank you for answering that question in such an authentic, honest, without pretending anything way. Sometimes we want to show up on screen being a little bit more perfect and saying things a little bit more upbeat than they really are. And I think there is such a power in being vulnerable and being real and being aligned with your truth. It's the theme. It's what we're talking about all the time. We're not here to make ourselves look good. We're here to discuss real things. And maybe someone who is watching will relate and will make choices that will better their lives and allow themselves a freedom just to be and be true and be vulnerable and be strong. This is the real strength.
Jackie, you wanted to, yes.
I wanted to add something based on what Jackie said. And besides, I think she said it, but I really want to call it by its name. And it's action. We need to act. We need to do things. I am very prone to getting depressed. And I live by myself. And the one thing I got straight out the beginning of the pandemic was like, you need to get out of bed. You need to make your bed. You need to drink your pills. And it's like, I can read you guys my list. And I said, look, I have no excuse. Action is the one thing that really keeps us going. You can have the intention, but you need to act on it.
I love that. I always say making the biggest small step, but make that step. Love that.
Yes, very much so. So on our third question, I just wanted to kind of wrap up all of the things that we've talked about already. And, all of us, after work, whether we're working outside of the home or in the home, some of us are working with young children and keeping them going in a classroom virtually. We have families that we're taking care of in our home and outside of our home. And we've all experienced some difficult times, in regard to all of those things with personal space and privacy and, the financial aspect of all of that. So, all of that sort of being put together, how do you suggest, or how do you continue to create or to be productive or prosper in the things that you do every single day, whether it's your personal, your business, your family, whatever that is? And we'll start with Jackie B this time, since we've gone this way twice. Now we'll go this way.
For me, I am a very active, physically active person. And so for me, getting out in nature and doing those hiking and kayaking and all of that is where I find, that's where I get centered. And that's where I can get rid of this noise and just focus in on the beauty that's around us. I always find that when there is chaos around us, being in nature and watching the animals collecting their food, living and doing their daily thing, they don't really care that there's a pandemic going on. They don't care that there is social injustices going on. They're just doing their thing. And it's somewhat comforting to me. And I'm not saying that we can't avoid or ignore all these things, but it's nice to have a little bit of a break and just recenter and say, tomorrow is another day. These animals and all this stuff they're still going to be here. They're still going to be doing their thing. I find that helpful. And then I also want to make sure that people keep goals set for themselves, whatever that is. For me, I have a big goal, which is to kayak the entire 410 miles of the Connecticut River from source to sea. I've done 100 miles of it. I do it in my inflatable kayak with my 2 dogs, an 85-pound yellow lab and a 19-pound Maltipoo. And it's just the 3 of us out there. And it has been challenging. We've had some times where I was like, what am I doing? What made me think I should be doing this? But it gets me totally out of the realm of the everyday. And when you do that and you have a shift in the everyday, that's when the creative stuff can come back in. When you're in a regiment of doing things, I think sometimes it can stagnate us. So by totally shifting and changing the energy of things and going into a totally different environment, that's where I personally find I'm the most creative. And when I, get off the water at night and I'm laying in my tent, I journal and I start writing like crazy. And I come up with all these crazy ideas and I come back and I'm like, people think, they're like, oh my gosh, she went away again, didn't she? Because I have all these great ideas. And so that keeps me centered, but it also keeps me looking forward so that we're constantly looking at something else. And my goal is to be done doing all 410 miles by 2022. So, and there's no medal at the end. This is just for me. It's just a personal goal that I have. And I think it's important to have those forward-looking goals so that you have something to look forward to, so you're not stuck here saying, what are we doing? And then I think the only other thing to say too is, I think, Mickey, you had said it earlier, which was, or what somebody has, there's a lot of conflicting thoughts on, should we be masking? Should we not be masking? Should we be with people? Should we not be with people? Should all of this stuff? You need to stay true to yourself and know that if you have to do what's comfortable for you and what brings you, don't give in to social pressures of, I've got to do this because other people expect this of me. Do what's right for you. And when you do that, you're maintaining your joy, and then the joy just pours out of you. So don't give in to what other people are saying and expecting of you. Just do you.
Very well said.
Can I just say that
Yes.
my heart is smiling. My heart is so happy. Thank you.
Yes. And then Jackie said, go ahead and unmute yourself, Jackie. Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
sorry, I kept going, looking at you and your journey, your dogs. I kept dreaming. But for me, it really goes down to having time for myself. I'm not the kind of person that wants to go anywhere. I do not want to know anything. I do not want to go on vacation to Thailand and know it. No. If I happen to be in Thailand, normally a job or something took me there. But I have no need to go outside of myself. I love people like you that will take 2 dogs and a boat and go out. I mean, I think it's amazing. But I'm not like that. I'm more of a hammock. I love lying on a hammock. Saturday afternoon, I mean, I keep my holiday is on Saturdays, and as time goes by, it's becoming holier and holier each time, because I realize I do need that time. I need that time to reconnect with myself. And really, for me, it goes down to keeping time for yourself. And you have to do a daily check, a weekly check. It's like you just have to do it. Otherwise, how do you know where you're going? That's my thought on it.
We talk about self-care and self-love so much, and I think sometimes those words they mean so many different things to different people, and just hearing the contrast and similarities at the same time of how the two of you do that and, you know, continue to move forward and be prosperous in your life. Very nice. And then Lisa, would you share with us?
Sure. I think I fall somewhere in the middle. Jackie, hats off to you with your kayaking and all of those things. That's amazing. And what I had to do, I guess sometime in June, was pull myself out of the house also. You said you're crying at Easter, and just because it's very, very overwhelming. And so my objective for myself was, because I found myself staying in the house too, not leaving, not going anywhere, not going to the grocery store or any of those things. And I had to pull myself out of the house and walk. I just walked. I just started walking, and I didn't stop walking. Started walking with my weights and doing good things for myself. I always juiced prior to the pandemic, and I was doing all of these things prior to the pandemic. And then I got caught not doing anything. You know, I can get where you're coming from, Jackie. I felt the same way. I was like, you know what? Don't need to get dressed. I don't need to go outside. I don't need to do anything. I'm very comfortable. But I got too comfortable doing what I was doing. I got way too comfortable. So one day I got myself dressed up, decked out, and I went to my mailbox, all dressed up in heels. And I said, this is the beginning, because the sweatpants and the sweatshirts and the ponytail has to stop. Come back to being yourself. So what I do, and I love peace and quiet. I love to be in my quiet space so I can think and create and listen. Listening is so important to your surroundings. Like you said, Jackie, that's what I'm saying. I find myself somewhere in between. Well, all of us, I think, we're all coming from the same place, because we're living in the same crazy world, and we're all experiencing different things in different ways. So for me, it's really, really praying for more, being conscious of more self-care, getting out, breathing in the air, because now it's okay to breathe, and just doing what makes me happy, laughing, singing, dancing by myself like I'm a crazy person, and just doing anything, putting on heels if I feel like it, not putting on heels, doing whatever I want. Because I realized you can actually do what makes you happy, because you're in charge of that. You decide your happiness. You make the choices. So to sum it up, that's what I do. I do whatever I want.
How many of you have found something new that makes you happy? Right? Something maybe you didn't realize before made you happy, and now you're like, that really makes me happy. Right?
Absolutely.
Whew. I think we've all learned so much. We talked prior to going live, and all of us really talked about, learning and newness and sharing with others, and just how this has really forced us to evolve in such a way to be better every single day in some way, shape, or form. So yes, and so we have actually time for questions and any comments. And so I'm just going to very quickly read. I don't see any questions at the moment, but I know you all may not be able to see some of the comments over here. But Audra is super excited that she was able to get on with us before it got too late. And Lynn, again, was with us this evening, Lynn Gallant. And she had reiterated deliberate, facing her fears, not dwelling on the past are such great points, and great intentions, having great intentions daily. And then I think it's Audra down below that says, timing is great as I brace for a heavy winter, metaphorically with next week's election and literally with this week's snow forecast, which Jackie S. doesn't even know. We have snow coming on Friday, probably not where you are. And with this looming holiday season, which, the holiday season is so different, the Thanksgiving, the all of the winter holidays, the December holidays are going to be so different this year, just as Easter was so different. And finding that find what makes you happy during that period of time. Again, Audra, I like Jacqueline's point to getting into nature, and Jackie's point of taking action. Self-care and self-love. Again, Audra, self-care and self-love equals self-preservation, which allows for joy to breed. And Lynn said, great panel. So I'm super, super, super excited. We didn't have any questions, even though I asked for them. Apparently we've covered everything that we needed to cover, and helped our community in such an amazing way that they just couldn't come up with any questions. Julia, do you have any?
Well, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for allowing us to keep that space real, to be vulnerable, to come out and be here on the screen in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, being exactly as we are, without hiding, without being afraid. I just applaud you for the courage, for inspiring other people, because when you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to say as is, and know that we're going to still create, we're going to still be balanced, we're going to still inspire our communities, because we have to understand that Lisa, Jackie S, and Jackie B are the people who are inspiring many people around them. And when you guys are allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be human beings with all the flaws and with all the things that might come up and with all the greatness at the same time, you're allowing it and you're giving permission to other people to do the same. We need to stay human. Even though we're on a screen, it's okay to not hide behind it. So I'm just grateful for that. I think the conversation is beautiful. Many people will watch it in the replay. And so as you're watching it on replay, do leave your comments. We will get back to you. And we will, if you have questions, we will address that as well. We will follow up, we promise. And we just want to tell you that we're doing this panel every month, once a month. Usually it's the third Tuesday of the month. Right now, it's scheduled for November 24th at 7 o'clock. If something changes because of Thanksgiving, we're going to let you know, but our intention is to keep it that way. And we're going to continue the conversation, and we're going to invite some of the people who are like our guests to come back again and to share with us more. So please do leave any comments that you think we can benefit from. And also, if you know people who might like to hear this conversation, do share it with them, because this is beautiful and this is real. And I would love you guys, each one of you, to tell us how can people contact you. We can start with Lisa. Lisa, if people want to know more about your community, more about your work, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. They can find me on all social media platforms. Lisa Ascalise, the inventress. I can give my email address also. It's info@inventingatoz.com, or AOWIE, AOWIE, which is the Association of Women Inventors and Entrepreneurs.
Awesome. And you can also leave a comment with it so that people can just copy and paste in case when they want to get to know your work closer. And Lisa's work is amazing, and community is a rock star community. Beautiful. And Jackie B, how could people get more of you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, and I have a business page, Jacqueline B. Clark Baldwin. Excuse me, oh my goodness, Jacqueline Baldwin, CLTC, I believe it is. Just you can find me there. If you want to follow my journey on the kayak, you can personally friend me, because I always post in on my journeys. And then you can reach me at my email, which is jbaldwin, BALDWIN, at BLFINARC.com, which is for Baldwin, B&L Financial Architects. So.
Wow, thank you. And so you can also, if you don't mind writing it.
Yeah, and I'll post in the chat.
And I started kayaking this year, so I have to talk to you. Yes. And Jackie Sad Robinson.
Well, basically, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm avoiding all the rest. I even took down my website, my work pre-COVID website. And I'm trying to reduce myself to basically an email, a Facebook, and an Instagram. That's it. In all of them, I'm Jackie Sad Robinson, and in my email is jsadrobinson@gmail. Very simple. But I wanted to add, when Lisa was talking about putting on her heels to go on, well, I'll tell you what was my change. I put on pants because I lived in underwear for months. I finally put on pants. I'm sorry, I had to say it. I was like laughing myself off by myself. So really, that's it. There is so many stories about the pandemic, and it's really there are stories that you may laugh, you may cry, but there are stories that have many teachings and many lessons. Yes. And this pandemic is not over.
I say this. Thank you, Jackie, so much. I say this. Let's release this pandemic from having to teach us these lessons. Let's learn the lessons and say goodbye to pandemic So we don't need to learn these lessons anymore, and we can learn different lessons because we will always learn and learn them from love and grace. It was an amazing panel. Thank you so much. Jackie,
Yeah,
please leave your
thank
contact information in the comment as well, okay? When you get it, we can even get off.
I actually put all 3 on there just now.
Well, okay.
And
We
Jackie S., I had to retire a pair of slippers. So not quite as intimate, but I did have to retire a pair of slippers in the summer. It's sad, but I did.
Yes. My son told me that, Mom, like, my son is an acupuncturist, and so he works giving me acupuncture treatments very often. And he told me, you know what? Like, your feet looks like, my feet are okay, but he said they look different. And he goes, it's better. I said, what do you mean? He goes, you're not wearing heels. I use heels all the time, but now I'm wearing flip-flops all the time. And he goes, I know why. The heels.
Yeah, it's so true. We are not kind to ourselves most of the time. Wonderful.
Right.
I so appreciate all 3 of you joining us this evening. And again, your transparency and just being so raw with everyone. That's wonderful, and sharing with our community.
Thank you so much, guys. To be continued. Please stay tuned. Please share this video. It's so inspirational. I know I'm going to watch it again. And we love you so much. Please be good to yourself. Please take a good care of yourself. And this is hello from New York. Yeah.
It's urgent that we take
That's
care
right.
of ourselves. See?
That was very symbolic, right?
I agree.
Yes, big hug to everybody. Huge hug. We love you. Everyone is so special and beautiful.
Bye.
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 Thank you.